MrBeast has finally responded to the allegations in an interview on Oompa channel. This is his official response. This is what everybody has been waiting for months. This will probably be the last video about MrBeast. Finally time to move on, but let's go through this entire thing one last time, give my thoughts on it, and you guys can let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So yeah, let's check it out. Oompa starts by asking why MrBeast took several months to respond.
Would you be willing to put your hand on this Bible and swear?
Oh my gosh, you actually have a Bible?
I have 2 Bibles.
Are you being serious?
I am being serious.
Okay.
I'm swearing. This means it's legit. Why were you so silent? Especially off the bat. Like, you did respond to the Ava Tyson stuff immediately, but right after that, a bunch of other stuff came out, and Dawson's video, his first video, gained a bunch of traction. What was your reasoning for being so silent?
The Ava stuff came out, and I put out that tweet. We hired the investigators to go look into it, and part of that investigation is they recommended that I not talk about drama or really do anything online because it might influence. Yeah, if I could go back in time, I would do what we're doing here, because I assume this is like the correct format. It's going to be a little bit more free-flowing and natural.
Okay, so basically he was legally advised not to make sure that the investigation by the law firm was conducted properly. Obviously, that made it snowball like crazy, and he regrets that decision. I guess any future controversies will hopefully be addressed immediately. But then he goes over a few of the allegations, like him hiring a registered offender named Delaware.
People allege that you hired a registered offender named Delaware. There's a big whole conspiracy with it. Why did you hire Delaware, and were you aware that he was before you hired him?
Yes, I did hire him, but for the context around it, I hired him when I was 19, so I was a teenager, and this is kind of leans a little bit into what we were talking before. This is back when it was just a couple of my friends from high school, my mom. My videos were getting bigger. I needed more help, and so I walked in because I'm dumb. Like, I probably should have gone on some site and hired people who had production experience, but instead I walked into my local Best Buy and I just hired multiple people. Obviously, when I was a teenager, I didn't know what a background check was. And I just hired a couple people there that wanted to help me make videos. One of them was the person named Delaware. And no, I did not know he was a registered offender. There's a rumor that's gone around that said that he sat me and my mom down and told us. Obviously, I don't remember that happening, but yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing that happened. I take accountability. Yes, if I could go back in time, I would tell teenage me, hey, you're supposed to do background checks.
Okay, so essentially you're saying that he was young and stupid and he just hired a random guy from a store, didn't do background checks. He should have done as time went on, but he just didn't. He says it was like a dumb mistake. And the thing about him and his mom knowing, he says he doesn't remember that. And the source of that information was a Jake the Viking tweet, who people, don't seem to trust that much. He also mentions that if he could go back in time, of course, he wouldn't do it and would do actual background checks. Basically, it comes down to, do you believe his word over Jake the Viking? Then they talk about the whole meme of investigating himself and finding himself innocent.
It wasn't an internal investigation. It was an external investigation, which was clearly laid out in the things we showed.
Yeah, a third-party investigation.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, it is a little bit of a, a lot of people I saw were saying, well, you paid them. And it's like, well, yeah, top tier lawyers and federal prosecutors don't work for free, so I have to pay them.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how to debunk that one. I mean, it just is what it is.
All right, I think most people know that one. Basically, that's just how legal stuff works. I don't know if there's actually a better way to do it. It just sounds very absurd to anybody looking in, right? That you have to pay people to then investigate you, right? Of course, the internet was making fun of that. Nothing to debunk there. But I wanted to ask, the result of the third-party investigation said that they were hiring a new CEO, CFO, CPO, and general counsel, which is a very interesting result for an investigation that supposedly didn't find much wrong. Now, in my personal call with Jimmy, I actually asked him about this, and he said he can't answer it for legal reasons because apparently, if you explicitly say the reason you fire someone, you can get sued. I don't know exactly how it works, but that's what he told me, and that's probably why some questions aren't actually in the interview. But anyways, Oompa talks about the shady company culture.
Obviously, in general, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of things about, HR stuff in my company, and I think one thing people don't have is just the context. I think they think my channel is just 5 people or 10 people or 20, whatever. They don't realize the size of it. I just want to blanketly say, companies at this size, you can't ever guarantee that every interaction everyone's going to have is always going to be positive with each other. That's just impossible. So I want to start off by just saying that, because I don't want people to watch this and then a year from now, like hear some rumor and be like, oh, Jimmy didn't learn. Like any company of this size, there's always going to be some problem someone has. Now, having said that, I'm not trying to use it as like a blanket of like, and shield myself. There are two things that are like someone in my position who runs a company like this is in control of. One is, making sure we're not fostering anything inappropriate and, allowing it. And then two, when it inevitably happens, because it just will in a company my size. And I'm trying to be transparent here. Like it's, how do you respond to it? And then the making sure you're not fostering it. Part of Quinn Emanuel, when we had them do their investigation, is I had them look at every system in my company. I had them talk to my employees and see if there's anything they could bring to Quinn Emanuel's attention that they could make me aware of. And I think it was in the report, is like we established an anonymous hotline, because Quinn Emanuel was showing me data that like sometimes people don't feel comfortable talking to HR or their boss, and like leveled up like our C-suite, because I've had a lot of people that have grown with me, but like me, they've never ran a company that has hundreds of employees before. So I actually just hired a couple of people who have worked on Fortune 500 companies who have actually ran companies of this size before. And so, they've shown me lots of things that bigger companies do that obviously I'm just ignorant on because I'm a YouTuber. You know what I mean?
Okay, so basically he says that, he started off as a YouTuber, just a few employees, and then his company got too big for him to handle every single interaction. And, someone in his company can say they feel harassed or whatever, and he's saying that he would have no idea about it. So the steps he's taking to rectify this is specifically introducing an anonymous hotline so that people can report bad behavior without, fearing repercussions from anybody or any superiors or anything like that. So basically he's just saying that he listened to whatever the Quinn Emanuel firm told him to do as a result of their investigation. It's like, hey, this part is wrong in your company. This is how you actually do it. So then he went ahead and fixed it.
Your mom was previously head of your HR department, and some people have criticized that as a conflict of interest. Did you personally at the time even consider that? Mm-hmm. And do you now also acknowledge that that is a conflict of interest?
Oh, I agree. That's a dumb thing to do.
Yeah.
I do think context matters though, because like this is where a lot of these things that I assume we're going to talk about is like people conflate current MrBeast with 400 employees and spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year with MrBeast when he's a teenager and starting. I agree. Like it's stupid. Like you definitely shouldn't have your mom as an HR person. You should just hire someone who was educated in HR, which is obviously what we have. We have an HR team now.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of these responses boils down to him saying that he was just a dumb YouTuber, didn't expect to get so big, and he didn't know how to handle stuff like a proper company. And, so his mom was running some stuff. And the thing is, while I do like Oompa, I think a little better job of the interview could have been done. Like, some of the main stuff is the Ava Chris Tyson stuff, which he does get to, but it's added as like an addendum to the interview, which he forgot to ask about, which is crazy. Like that should be the first thing you ask about. But anyways, they go through it one by one, and he does address it later on. Then they talk about the no means no rules. I think we went over this like 50 times. I don't know who actually believes this, because the very first time I saw it, I also said that, it was just company culture, nothing to do with harassing women at all. So I don't know why people ever ran with that. That was just ridiculous.
No doesn't mean no policy. That was criticized. That was crazy. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, what the fuck?
Well, you're answering for me. Let me answer. Because we do, I don't know if anyone's ever seen our videos, crazy things that have never been done before, right? No one's ever, on YouTube at least, buried themselves alive for 7 days. No one like tries to dangle an obstacle course from cranes. And it's like, don't be rude, but if they say no, just try to understand why.
Okay, so then they move on to talk about CGI. Listen, I don't know how many people care about these portions. I feel like it should have been structured so that this part is at the end. A lot of the people are obviously more focused on the degenerate / illegal things / shady or stuff that looks scammy like the crypto stuff. So I did see a lot of people frustrated with this, but let's skim over it.
Do you think the use of CGI can undermine the credibility or authenticity of the content that you're making? And if so, why do you choose to use it?
Good question. And yes, I do think rampant use of CGI can undermine it. And like, also we rarely use it. Like, I mean, maybe like 0.5%, 0.1% of my shots. What I really don't want is people to not be able to trust my videos just because occasionally I want to make a wall blacker or like I want to extend a set a little bit just to make it look cooler and like you feel in tune with it. Because what we do on its own is insane. You know what I mean? Like we don't need it. You know what I mean?
There are times in my videos where my head is bigger than my head in real life because my editors make it bigger. That's CGI, right?
Yeah.
The words, the subtitles in your video, they're not real. That's CGI.
Okay, I really don't know what's going on here. They've gone off track a little bit. I guess Oompa's just a chill guy making some sort of jokes. I feel like the vibes are supposed to be a little more serious, sort of interrogative, and this came across a little bit jokey at some parts. Now, the CGI or whatever editing, everyone is fine with, I think, as long as it's not overly fake or super ridiculous. Now, there are some things like, the New Zealand tourist attraction that takes 45 minutes to cross the Waitoma glowworm caves, and then the video is titled 7 Days Stranded in a Cave. So stuff like that, I don't think people actually care. It's just, a little bit of transparency, a little bit of authenticity is appreciated. Like, I think people would appreciate if he just came out and said, yeah, my videos are exaggerated a bit with the editing and stuff, but, we do real stuff. We put a lot of effort into the videos. We got to make it YouTube title and thumbnail friendly. But a little bit of honesty goes a long way. Now, finally, they move on to one of the serious allegations of faking portions of philanthropy.
There was an allegation that you used CGI to create the impression that you guys built a hospital, part of a hospital, in order to deceive viewers or manipulate them into believing that you did more than you actually did.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. Honestly, truthful. Dumb mistake. At the start of one of our Beast Philanthropy videos, they were trying to show what this building looked like in the past, and in the past that hospital wasn't there, so they removed it in the editing. Which and this was just a small part of this isn't even the point of the video was that we built this hospital or whatever. There was just a shot at the beginning, but some people saw that and thought we did build it, which is not the intention, and so it's just a dumb mistake. Trust me, when I saw that, I talked to the editors. I was like, come on, I have 100 editors, and obviously we have a bunch of different channels and things like that. So
okay, wow, all right. So he admitted it, I guess. That was actually super unexpected. Essentially says that his editing team messed up the before and after. Basically what happened is that in the before edit, they removed the hospital, and then in the after edit, they put it back in, giving the viewer the impression that they've built this hospital, which is not what they did. They did some other stuff like install solar panels, and it convinced some people in the comments that they were doing more philanthropy than they were actually showing. For example, Minecraft, their sponsor, commented saying that, oh, they actually built a hospital there when they didn't do that. So, of course, some people are getting misled there. So, essentially, he says it's an editing mistake, and he wasn't maliciously trying to show that he built a hospital like that. It's basically down to, do you believe him here? And I feel like if these are one-off cases and they don't get repeated ever again, then I'm inclined to believe that.
And once again, optically, you're the guy who's talking about, spending 26 hours a day looking at data, and every decision, every single frame that's in a video is combed over, and then that is a mistake, obviously, that you're capable of making, your team is capable of making, and the whole thing is capable of making, and people, they'll compare and contrast whether they know or not. They think everything you're doing is 110% deliberate.
Okay, so I did notice a ton of people saying this. Basically, even when I talked about my call with MrBeast, essentially everyone was saying, he's definitely manipulating you. He's definitely trying to get on your good side, all of that. Guys, don't worry. I literally can't be bought, nor am I, awestruck by big YouTubers or anything like that. So, no, it was literally just a genuine interaction we had or whatever. Obviously, it doesn't excuse any of the shady stuff he did. I was just telling you guys the truth. I didn't really expect everyone to be like, oh, he's definitely manipulating. You weren't in the call, you don't know. I was just telling you my experience. But yeah, essentially this is gonna happen with MrBeast, where everyone's saying he's a master YouTuber and he's purposely editing every single portion to show that he did more than he did. It really depends on what you think of his character. Is he going to plan every single second of every video? For the main channel, I 100% believe that. It's definitely planned. For the philanthropy channel, I don't know. I honestly can't say, right? I can probably accept it was a one-off mistake. Now, Oompa asks if the videos are actually rigged.
So there's evidence that you put your previous employees, friends, whatever, controlled opposition in your challenge videos, such as the 100 boys versus 100 girls video.
Yeah.
Did you put them in that video or videos like that specifically to rig the outcome
of the challenge?
The challenge? And
my girlfriend, after that video, literally went on a podcast and described this. So it's not even like this was hidden information. This has been out there.
You were in the video 100 girls versus 100 boys for $500,000.
Yes. On the day, everybody had to go for COVID tests, and a lot of people came, got their COVID tests, and they tested positive. And the girls somehow ended up with way too little contestants. So I got a call randomly from the studio, and they're like, we need a female. I'm like, well, I am a female. I guess I could do this 100-hour challenge.
Were
Yeah.
you dating at the time?
Yes.
And did the others know you were dating MrBeast at the time?
They pretended that they didn't, but I think some of them caught on.
Did he like move to the side of the circle and just check
No,
up on
he
you?
avoided eye contact at all costs.
But I mean, literally, like she said on the podcast, they were competing for money like everyone else. Transparency. I'll look at the camera. No, they were not there to rig it. I did not tell them what to get out. I did not tell them what to do. They had their own free will. And yeah, I really didn't think too much of it. And, you know, here we are a couple years later, and that's turning into proof that I put employees in videos to rig them and script them. And
Okay, so he says he only put employees or friends in that video because people got sick and he needed to fill the spots, right? Now, again, it's down to how much you believe him there. He said his girlfriend is evidence, but it's his girlfriend, and she would likely defend him. Just playing devil's advocate here. So yeah, in my opinion, it's just a bit hard to defend because just having employees in your videos, regardless of if you're not meaning to rig it at all, right? Just having them there, you didn't tell them anything. It still looks bad to viewers, and you can understand why a general viewer watching that will assume it's rigged, right? If you have friends and employees in there, they're going to assume it's rigged, even if it's not, right? So I think going forward, just make it a rule. Don't have any employees or friends in the challenges. Make it a point to always find random contestants for everybody, right? Especially if there's like massive, huge prize monies. Because if your girlfriend is participating in the challenge, and then highly unlikely that she's the one that wins, but imagine she ends up winning the $5 million, and then you think people are not going to say it's rigged? Of course, people are going to bring up those allegations once again. So just to protect yourself, I feel like don't do that. And, you know, there's like convenient stuff happening of, you know, Mac getting out first in a video, getting a car as a prize. And, you know, you've said you know him as well. So possible coincidence, obviously. Again, it depends if you like him and believe what Jimmy is saying here as well. Then they talk about Soggy disavowing MrBeast and saying that he felt used by him.
He has criticized you today and last night, I think, you know, to sort of timestamp when this video is being recorded so people know. He said, Soggy has criticized you sharing his video with other YouTubers as a way to shield yourself from criticism, you know, like DMing the video to people. He also expressed feeling used by you, given that you used his video as a strategy to gather favor from the public.
I interpret as him just trying to be honest with his audience and just expressing how he feels. And he probably, in his head, if he was even being more honest, he'd probably be like, Jimmy, why don't you just say these things? Why am I saying it?
Yeah, that's honestly fair. I do feel bad for Soggy because he felt used by MrBeast, and the internet definitely clowned on him for it. Putting my beef aside as well, I think it's good that he made that tweet and made sure people know that he's not just like a MrBeast glazer as well. And MrBeast also commented on Soggy's video.
This is finally a video that doesn't spread baseless slander about me.
Yeah, I mean,
Lol.
obviously that was a stupid comment. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, how do you think that looks? I mean,
Yeah, dumb.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, that obviously looked really bad.
Dawson claimed that you ran multiple illegal lotteries, and, you know, in Soggy's video, he sort of, I think, disproved two.
Yes.
And then one he still believes was an illegal lottery.
Yes.
Do you believe that you ran an illegal lottery? Did you believe at the time? What was your mindset? Did you check with the FCC? Was there any compliance, any steps taken to prevent this? What is your just perspective on that?
Yes. So I don't think we did. I have people looking into it and like trying to pull the footage and figure it out. You know, he disproved the two, which, I mean, those were crazy. I don't want to just like speculate. I have a team looking into it. I don't think we did though. But regardless, just to be truthful, if people want a refund or think for whatever reason, like we did something wrong, like I'll send you a link that you can just put in the description where they can get a refund. Maybe just throw it on the screen here.
Okay.
Okay, that's a great first step that MrBeast is offering refunds. That's a great way to correct any people who felt scammed if they can, you know, prove that they were manipulated by some of those events. Now, I wish Oompa asked and pressed him about, did they actually delete any streams off the internet and why? Also, one part that was left out that nobody talked about for some reason is that why MrBeast would say, you know, the next person who buys in 5 minutes wins a prize, and then he would forget, and then he'd say, oh, actually, never mind. Next person who buys gets a prize. That's obviously not acceptable to anybody who was looking forward to getting said prize or said signature or said whatever. So does that qualify as illegal, or was that just a mistake? Because, you know, Soggy's video also did not address that as well. So there could be some pushing on that as well, but, you know, let's move on. Now, Oompa asked a big question of, will Beast be suing Dogpack? Now, I actually talked to Beast in private about this, and Beast told me that he would wait till everything's over. I guess he's getting some stuff checked, and then he may have to sue Dogpack. He's also aware of the massive Streisand effect and, what happened when he sent the cease and desist and stuff. But now, as public opinion changes a little bit on Dogpack as well, he's feeling more comfortable, and he said he might actually do it.
Are you going to sue Dogpack?
Well, there's tons of examples of him intentionally manipulating things to not be true and posting it online. I mean, I've literally had people pull out millions of dollars and then tell me it was directly because of his video. And don't worry, I instantly was like, can you send that in writing? So, if I win a case or anything, I can directly point damages. No reason why. And it's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably going to have to. I mean, it's just...
Okay, so yes.
They're not done drafting it up, but once they're done, more than likely, yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, Dogpack is in trouble, and if Jimmy does decide to sue him, basically the court will decide at that point, and Jimmy seems pretty confident he'll win. There's obviously the optics of quote-unquote silencing critics, but obviously some people can point out that this is a different situation if someone is spreading like straight-up lies, intentionally manipulating stuff like that. Then, of course, it will be seen as not silencing criticism, then stopping someone from intentionally spreading lies about you, right? Then Oompa asks about the crypto stuff. There was an entire document, and there was CoffeeZill's investigation as well. A little context before this clip, MrBeast apparently made like $10 to $20 million from these crypto projects and tokens, and essentially he says that it wasn't actually him doing it, and it was the people he hired, essentially.
For example, something very similar has happened. Well, not that similar, but something is happening to CoffeeZilla, who we'll talk about here in a minute as well. He's being sued. There was a comprehensive report published that painted a negative light on crypto dealings allegedly associated with you. To what extent were you involved in these crypto transactions, and how do you respond to CoffeeZilla's video on you detailing these allegations? I thought he gave you a benefit of the doubt in that video.
Yeah.
I think he's a very reasonable guy, to be honest. I think he's a very smart, reasonable guy who cares about like doing the right thing, which is pretty rare on YouTube. Yeah, how would you respond to Coffee's video?
Yeah, it was managed by a fund, so I wasn't the one managing the wallet. I've never had access to that wallet. I've never done the buying and selling on that wallet. There's a actual professional who's written books on crypto and lived and breathes crypto every second of the day managing it. So most of the allegations there are just answered by I am too stupid to do that. That's why a fund was managing it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so he says the fund was managing it, and, he didn't have much say in that. But there was also the Logan Paul podcast where he seemingly admitted to buying something based on Gary Vee's recommendation, which made it look like Jimmy was in control of these investments. So it's basically down to, do you personally believe that Jimmy would let his fund manage millions of dollars without his involvement? Or how involved do you think Jimmy was? And was he the one doing these so-called dumps, or was it his team? Does that change anything? Of course, I'm not going to make any allegations. I just report them, so you guys can decide about that. And we move on to the next one, talking about the 1,000 eye surgeries. MrBeast was accused of not paying for these, and then after 8 months of the person reaching out, they finally got paid.
1,000 people with blindness video. There was a nonprofit that alleged it was...
Oh, that's a good segue.
Yeah, it was alleged that it was not paid.
Yes.
And you eventually paid them 8 months later. What was the cause of the delay?
The charity we were working with was supposed to release the funds to him afterwards to pay for it. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding. They didn't get it, so we ended up paying for $970, and I didn't know of this, but that little misunderstanding never got taken care of. So then the charity that did the 30 surgeries made a video saying, hey, we didn't get paid. Somehow that never ended up on my radar for 8 months, which is honestly crazy. I don't know how no one sent that to me. Whoa, I instantly called the team we were working with, and I was like, what's going on here? And then we looked through it all, blah, blah. And then I was just like, I just paid them. So I actually double paid for those surgeries and just paid them separately. Why would I intentionally not pay the last 30 to save 3%? Just nuke the entire rep of the video just to save 3% of money. A, that just doesn't even seem logical. B, what makes it even less logical is we did 800 more eye surgeries off camera. And obviously, now, I'm over-explaining things, but I have to, because there are literal videos using this as proof that I'm evil, and using this as proof that I don't care, and using this as proof that I fake things, the horns, yeah. A little bit of a whoopsie, but we fixed it when we found out about the whoopsie. I mean, that's the honest truth.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect to not make mistakes with an operation that's big.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen.
When I do, we fix them.
That was so incredibly awkward. I don't know what is going on there, but it was funny. Yeah, so basically Beast says that he didn't know, and when he knew, he immediately tried to pay it. The question just remains, why did it take 8 months to go up the chain of command and reach the Beast team? But yeah, it does seem stupid that they would purposely do any of this because it would tank their reputation, which it did, obviously. But I will say it is unacceptable. Like, if I worked for someone and got paid 8 months later and my calls were ignored for 8 whole months, obviously I'd be super mad. So I hope they make sure it never happens again, even if they're working through a third party or something like that. Then they move on to the dogpack allegation that Team C's made a negligible impact.
It took Team C's 3 years to remove the equivalent of 10 hours worth of trash being dumped into the ocean every day. And a lot of people have criticized the campaign as being ineffective and that you should have been doing something else instead of Team C's.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how do you respond to that?
Yeah. So first off, because I get this a ton with Team
Yeah.
C's. Like, this isn't even like a new thing. Ever since we did it, people constantly bring this up. Only 34 million pounds of trash was removed out of the ocean. We're talking like multiple Empire State Buildings worth of just trash, if you piled it up, is out of the ocean. And we're acting like that's not a crazy thing if you just look at it in absolute terms. Like 34 million, not 34,000 million pounds. You know how crazy that is? When a firefighter, stops a building from burning down, you don't go, well, 100,000 buildings burned down today. You only stop one. What are you doing?
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. So A, that's I don't even know where that's a good analogy. That just popped in my head.
That's good.
B, what was I actually gonna say? Oh, the whole point though of Team C's, which we've said this multiple times publicly, same thing with Mark Rober, was to inspire millions of people around the world to be more conscious of these things and to like just care and be more aware, right? Like,
So he admits that in total percentages, not much was removed, but he says that 30 million pounds is still a lot. I think the problem was that it was sort of advertising that it was like saving the ocean when it's not really. It's trying to, it seems. It was also making it seem that people can make a bigger impact than they actually could, when an individual person can't really do much, and the criticism should have been better focused on major polluters like Coca-Cola or something. Personally, I think it's okay to do a project like that. Just be more clear that, hey, I'm not actually removing all the trash from the ocean or something, and picking up trash is likely not going to make a massive impact or whatever. It's good to be conscious or whatever, but I'd focus more on the mega companies and make sure a significant impact is actually being made when you advertise it as such. Then MrBeast talks about the 100 wells thing, where some of the wells shown in the video were the same picture.
Wells in Africa project.
Yeah.
In that video, part of the criticism for that video is that a few of the wells that you built were showed in different shots, or the same wells were showed in different shots.
Yeah.
That would imply to some people that you may not have built all 100.
Yeah.
Did you build 100 wells in Africa?
Yes. So you already know what I'm going to say. I mean, I would loop this in with the same thing as the hospital thing. Seems like I need to have someone who QCs things before we upload it more hardcore. I need someone who literally goes frame by frame. Like, we finish a video and then they spend 3 days just going frame by frame, making sure there's no mess ups. Yeah, I think 1 or 2 of the wells we accidentally showed this same well as different numbers. But once again, I said with the blind thing, why would I spend 98% of the money and then just fake 2 wells, and destroy the entire integrity to save 2%?
Definitely need to advise the editors better here. I think a lot of this could have been quelled if the edits were looked after better. And it's understandable why people were saying, oh my God, he's faking it, because you literally cannot see it in the video, right? So I'm very glad he cleared that up as well. He told me he built 100 wells in the previous call too. But proof is always needed, so I'm glad more info is available in the doc, and he sent Oompa some stuff.
Some people on the internet allege that you use philanthropy as a shield against criticism.
Yeah.
And they say that about a lot of people, not just you. A lot of YouTubers. How would you respond to that?
I actually think I would get less hate if I didn't do philanthropy. So I actually think it's having the inverse effect, at least in the last 2 years. People hate me more because I do good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's too crazy of a statement. I'm not trying to sound like a victim here or anything. So maybe that's too crazy of a statement, but it's just something I'm noticing.
Okay, not sure about that. I don't think philanthropy ever hurts his reputation. Of course, Twitter will make a big deal about it, of course. But personally, I think companies are 10 times more likely to work with you if they see you're doing something positive like that. It might be hard to do, but to say that there's no business advantage to philanthropy just seems wrong to me. That's just my opinion, though. Maybe he's completely right there. But But I definitely think it doesn't hurt your reputation or hurt your ability to secure brand deals or be scouted out by people who want to work with you. Then they move on to the Feastables labels on the website, where it was advertised as child labor free, slave labor free, and then that was removed from the website.
People noticed that on the Feastables website, it originally said that the chocolate was child labor and slave labor free. A lot of people probably don't know that the production of chocolate is, it's difficult for it to be ethical, especially at scale. And it no longer says that on the Feastables website, and people have interpreted this to mean that your chocolate is no longer ethically sourced, and it implies that it is using child labor or slave labor. How would you respond to that?
The gist of it is Feastables, we are super cognizant of our supply chain, and I've been over there. I've worked on these farms, literally. I mean, I could probably send you a video if you want to throw it up on screen, so it's not just hearsay.
Tony
No,
Chocolonely.
Tony's Chocolonely is super transparent. So
Yeah,
you can see
it's good.
every year they drop a transparency report. And in their last transparency report, I'm pretty sure, I mean, you can look it up and throw it up on screen. They said there's no evidence or any traces of slave labor found in their supply chain. So that's not a thing. They're big on saying exploitation free instead of slave free, which is why we switched it. And on top of that, we just we have new information there instead of just this blanket thing. We're now, I mean, or maybe it's being populated or updated. I don't know if I'm quoting like a demo site that we're about to go live or whatever, but I wanted to, like, everything I'm telling you here, I want all that up there. You know what I mean? And which we've been working on.
Okay, so that is a great clarification. I really do hope as the business expands, Feastables or whatever else stays exploitative labor free and continues to grow from there. I don't know how much it impacts sales, ethically sourcing and stuff, and how much you're losing by that, but that's just kind of the way you got to do it. It's good they're working with the people like the Tony's company. I don't really know much about it, but people seem to praise it a lot. Then we move on to the moldy Lunchly, of course.
Now on to Lunchly.
Oh, gosh.
There are, so, friend of the show, Rosanna Pansino, happened to get a moldy Lunchly, and a couple other creators got moldy Lunchlys.
Brand that comes into your mind when you think of something like Lunchly, something that's very similar, specific brand, I don't know, other brands, competitors, and Google their name and put the word mold behind it, you'll see thousands upon thousands of examples. And that, I think, is a key context a lot of people leave out in this, because they're acting like this is just a thing with us. Once it leaves your factory, a truck that's delivering it could technically take a sharp turn and a box fall and puncture the seal, or honestly, even something as dumb as like when it's put on the shelves at the store. Like, I can't stop someone from walking to Walmart and grabbing a Lunchly.
Right.
Going to the potato chip aisle, putting it there. So there's no mold when it leaves their factories, because that's just stupid. Why would we ever let that happen? But after that point, there are variables that we just can't control. And that's why every single product in that section, Google their name, put mold behind it. It just occasionally happens. I mean,
okay, so essentially it says that the Lunchly is not moldy after it leaves the factory, but random things can happen by the time it reaches the shop that could make it moldy. I'm just a little confused how so many creators got it though. Like, Rosanna bought a couple boxes and she got moldy Lunchly. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe the world just hates you or something. But yeah, he also says that all the other products are moldy as well. I don't know if that's like an American kind of thing. I don't know. I've personally never bought a product and got moldy cheese in my life. I don't know if that's just a standard or what, but yeah, essentially he's saying that it's being blown out of proportion. I imagine with the amount of TikToks being made on it, of course it will be blown a bit. I just wish Oompa pushed a little bit on the decision behind Lunchly as a whole. Like, he did say he wanted to make healthy food and then decided on Lunchly for some reason. I know he claims it's better than Lunchables or whatever, but it's still not exactly the best for kids. So I'd appreciate if they went more in the direction of health, like a front leader like MrBeast. I'd appreciate if he went away from like chocolate and processed snacks to something healthier. Maybe it's like way harder to sell, as he said, but this is just my opinion. Then we move on to Jake Weddle.
There's an interview with a former employee and contestant named Jake Weddle in which he alleges inhumane treatment on set, even war crimes. Use the term of phrase war crimes. How do you respond to these allegations, and do you plan on putting procedures in place to make sure this doesn't happen again?
The video was, we built a room in our studio, and then the challenge was every day you live in this room, you win $10,000. And then it was like kind of like a white padded room. There's like a pool table, a bed in there, bunch of other items, blah, blah. And let me just gather my thoughts on this one. I think the best way to talk about this is to also talk about how we did similar videos with other people. Because one of the things is, like, multiple people can do the same thing and experience it differently. That's what's a little tricky about these like contestant-based videos. I can never know 100% how something's going to affect someone, right? So similar to the Weddle video, I just want to lay the foundation before we go in specifically to that. Similar to that, we also did a video where we put did you see the video where we put 2 people in a room, Bailey and Susie, 100 days trapped together? So one thing that Leto struggled with was the lights being on, and he mentioned that in the video. But Bailey and Susie, on day 20 of 100 day trapped together, I offered to turn the lights off for part of their prize pool. And they said no. And like the lights wasn't, I mean, I'm sure it was difficult, but it wasn't like that big of a difficulty for them. And so it's like something for them that's not that big of a difficulty for other people can be, challenging and hard. And like what I'm trying to say is you never know how someone's going to react to something, right? It's impossible to fully predict. And so
this response is a little bit iffy. He's fumbling his words a bit. Essentially, he says that, hey, these other guys were okay with not turning off the lights, which honestly seems really bad and unnecessary for the challenge. And Jake, at least, seemed to clearly suffer from that. So I think rather than saying, okay, these people were okay with it, so it's difficult to know if other people are okay with it, how about we just go with the general rule? Let's let people sleep in darkness and turn off the lights. Because I don't really care what challenges it is or how desperate people are for money or how much people want to push themselves, but you're always going to get into controversy if you're making people super uncomfortable like that, right? And personally, I can't sleep with the lights on either, so it'd be extremely hard for me as well. So I don't know. I just hope he never does that again, even if people are like okay with it or whatever. And I hope he just does challenges where it's entertaining for the viewer without just obliterating their mental and physical state. I think that's perfectly reasonable.
That's one of these variables of these challenges, which is why we give people the ability to quit, you know what I mean, or to leave at any point. And so in his video, he went 11 days, won $110,000. Right? I believe it was 11 days. Yeah. Yes. And then he decided to quit on that day. And he mentions this in his video, like around day 11 or 12. I don't know what the day is off the top of my head, but he was struggling, and so we did turn off the lights. We sent a psychiatrist in there to check in on him, and we were like, yeah, he's not doing too well, and we ended the challenge, and we paid him. Didn't go long enough where we got a video, so we didn't end up uploading it. But I think the big thing is just that's why we allow people to leave these challenges. Like my goal when doing these obviously isn't to like break people mentally or push them past their limits. It's just to like create an environment where they can challenge themselves and do something interesting or cool, and then when they've had it, like, leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he gives them a choice to leave. That's great, and that's how it should be, obviously. But let's also remove the pressure and make challenges that are not so insane. Like, views are one thing, but sleep is something so essential to the human body that I just feel icky about challenges regarding it. So I just step away from that. You're not going to lose much content, please.
Etc. You reached out to him after the fact as well?
Yeah. I mean, now that I didn't want to bring that kind of stuff up, but yeah, also off camera, after he made that video, I reached out and was like, hey, man, like, obviously we weren't trying to cause you any mental stress with that video or anything, and is there any way I can help? And I ended up, he seemed like he really needed some financial help, so I ended up sending him $50,000 completely off camera or anything. I mean, he talked about it publicly so people know, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure he was good.
Yeah, I gave Jimmy props for this. Reaching out to Jake and trying to make the wrong things right is always going to be a good thing. And paying him and saying sorry is the right thing to do. Anyways, then Oompa moves on to the Beast Games class action lawsuit.
There was litigation found against you surrounding Beast Games, your show on Amazon, in regard to unsafe workplace conditions.
You know how litigation is. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk about it, which is a little... There's a lot of things I want to say here. So this is good. 5 anonymous Beast Game employees, or not employees, 5 anonymous Beast Game contestants submitted a lawsuit, and they sent it to the press, but conveniently all the actual claims are redacted, blacked out, so you can't actually see it. And I'm not allowed to disclose what's behind those black lines, but Beast Games, we had 1,000 people. We were doing big stuff, and just like with my normal videos, I'm not trying to say everything went great. Like, one thing that happened when we were filming one part of Beast Games is, you remember CrowdStrike? That was pretty brutal. We had the most contestants of any game show in history together. That was weirdly, God hates me, during the CrowdStrike accident. And so as we're eliminating hundreds of people and trying to get them home, airports all across America are down, hotel room keys aren't working, and that created a lot of confusion, and that caused a lot of problems in our systems. And that was pretty brutal. And
Okay, so some contestants said that they couldn't get home on time or the flights were delayed, and that's just because of the problems he just stated. But then he talks about a woman not being able to get feminine care products, and he takes accountability for that and admits it was a mistake.
stuff like that. But there was one woman who was allergic to the feminine care products, and we didn't have allergen-free ones like tampons and pads. And she told someone, I don't know who she told, I haven't been able to find it, but I mean, I believe that she did, that she was allergic, and they didn't obviously do the logical thing, which is tell us or just drive to the local Walmart and buy some and give it to her. And so she wasn't able to get, feminine care products in a reasonable amount of time, which is unacceptable. And so I learned a lot of little things like that.
So he says a lot of little things like that. I wish Oompa over there said, okay, what other little things? Because that was one thing that I didn't know about. So I don't know. It would be nice to clarify there. But anyways, after that, he clarifies some of the things that were false.
But I think in general, a lot of it has just been blown out of proportion. Like people have claimed we didn't use unions because I didn't want to pay people fair money, when that was just a flat out lie. We did use unions, and that there are dozens of broken bones, and which is crazy to think that I'd be like, oh, 10 people broke their bones, let's keep filming, you know what I mean? That doesn't even make sense. We literally called 1,950 contestants of the 2,000. We couldn't get a hold of all 2,000. I couldn't find a single broken bone. Yeah, online it's being claimed there's dozens. I mean, there's so much or even disinformation like that being spread. So which makes it hard for me to just come out and talk about things like the pad thing and other things where, we did mess up on little things, and there are definitely things we could have done better. But then there's just it's mixed in with all these crazy outrageous claims.
Okay, I agree. That pretty much sums up the MrBeast allegations there. There's plenty of true things mixed in with plenty of untrue things, and then you get one side saying everything is true and one side saying everything is false, when the reality is there's nuance to the situation. Some things are true, some things are false, and it's nice that there is clarification on that right now. Then he clears up allegations of paying people off.
I gave them all $2,000 to make them happy because we weren't we didn't tell them beforehand, to surprise them as they got eliminated. And then people are like, you just did that because of hush money. And I'm like, what does that even mean? I also didn't give them legal paperwork tied with it. That says it was just completely baseless. It just shows how crazy people go with the conspiracy theories and everything like that. But no, we did pay everyone $2,000.
Interesting. So I wonder why the contestants were saying a lot of those things, because I've actually talked to contestants who told me the opposite of some of these things. I didn't publicize them, but yeah, it's very weird. I don't know what they were trying to get by doing that, or was it true or was it not? But MrBeast is saying it's not true. It's very messy how the situation got. The contestants also mentioned physical challenges were in the show, and the men were essentially overpowering the women. So I wanted to know if that was fake as well. I wanted that to be included. He said that nobody broke their bones. I don't know if that's specific wording. Okay, does that mean nobody got hurt? Or specifically, nobody broke their bones. So, I just wanted some clarification about some of that stuff. Now, apparently, Oompa forgot to ask about Ava Chris Tyson, which is that's just crazy. So he called them again at least and got his opinion on that. Oompa's such a troll, man.
That last part was completely wrong. We did miss a few questions, and I called Jimmy the next morning to get clarification on a few more things, specifically Ava Shadman and some more of the crypto allegations. Here is that footage. We'll talk a little bit about Ava Tyson and specifically the Shadman stuff. I know we talked about the third-party investigation, which found no wrongdoing in a legal sense from that perspective. A thing that a lot of people care about is Shadman's a freak and is a disgusting person. Did you know about the painting in? Did you know about that? Have you ever interacted with Shadman before? What is your relation to that, and specifically that relationship between Shadman and Ava Tyson and you?
This is what it was I don't remember 7, 8 years ago. Back then, I used to have a bunch of anime posters up on the wall. I'm just set a foundation for context. We used to have a bunch of anime posters and things like that on our wall in the house. And one day, Ava put up this poster that was an animated character holding a fidget spinner and a gun. Admittedly, it was a weird image. I didn't know who made it. I just kind of assumed it was a meme. I obviously did not know who Shadman was. I've never spoken with Shadman. I did not buy the poster or commission it or anything. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't really think too much of it because we just had a lot of anime posters and things up, and it was an animated character that was clothed, obviously. And yeah, knowing what I know about Shadman now, it was a very weird thing to buy. I'm not really sure why she bought it, to be frank.
Okay, so he says he didn't know and he didn't think too much of it. And he says that he's not too sure why Ava bought it. I am also not too sure why anyone would buy such a disgusting image, let alone hang it on their bedroom wall. But yeah, Jimmy says that he had a bunch of these random anime posters and he didn't think much of the other one. Now, I will say there's a distinction there, obviously, a very big distinction between pictures of mature animated adults and the other one. So,
like, I agree, it is a little bit of a weird poster, but I also think, like, you know, I had like Naruto posters up, or I had like Code Geass posters, like random animes I used to watch, and like, you know, I never like reversed image search and Googled, oh, who made this Code Geass anime poster that's sitting on the wall or whatever. But yeah, I agree. It's her buying it is very weird, and I obviously, if I had known what I know now, I would have been like, what the actual fuck?
Okay, so this will basically come down to, do you trust him, essentially? For the sake of the Beast channel, I pray he did not know. I pray he had nothing to do with it, and I pray he's, you know, completely distanced from Ava, whatever. But yeah, at least we've heard it from his mouth, and he says he has no idea. So that's something he's given his take on there.
You've got art, and you were saying you didn't know. That's yeah, it's disgusting. Bad man is a freak. So okay, you said that I was manipulated by Dogpack. But before that, you said that you DM'd some commentary guys or some YouTubers, like evidence of like the Delaware stuff, basically context.
Okay, real quick, I was not DM'd about any of this proof of the Delaware stuff, of course, otherwise that would have made it public. But that's why Oompa's asking, because some of the things that were talked about were false. If Jimmy just told everyone early on, the situation wouldn't evolve and people wouldn't like automatically assume the worst of him, and people would just stick to the facts of the situation and call him out on these serious allegations instead of looking into these tiny things. So he's just asking, you know, you should have told us, which I appreciate him doing.
I just wanted to know why early on you didn't provide me, or yeah, I guess specifically, why wasn't that? Did you think I was a controlled op? You know, I would have gladly seen whatever you would have shown.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I did send it to people. Why I didn't send that to you? Honestly, I don't really know.
In the future, if you've got evidence, show me. Or somebody, or just like a Google Doc. I mean,
oh my god, I feel his frustration here. I mean, a lot of this could have been avoided if Jimmy just spoke out earlier, as I pointed out. Of course, a lot is justified criticism, and he admits to that. But yeah, it would be nice to not have such a messy situation with allegations floating around about everything, along with the true stuff, with debunking videos left and right, and you have to make sense of everything. So yeah, in the future, I hope he just speaks out immediately, and I hope any like other celebrity can learn from this as well. Now, Oompa also points out the perspective of commentary YouTubers.
Something I wanted to clarify, because you know, you feel like I was manipulated, and I genuinely, and a lot of other YouTubers as well, I'm sure, commentary guys probably don't feel like they're manipulated. It's just a drastically different perspective. You know, you are MrBeast, so it's tough to say, not to you know, say I deserve the benefit of the doubt or whatever. I absolutely should have researched more. But once again, it's a bigger problem, I feel like, that I think hopefully will be mitigated more in the future by this all coming out. And hopefully how transparent this video that I'm making right now with you is.
Yep, all fair points.
Okay, so that was a great point by Oompa. I just think that when one perspective of the situation is shown, it's so much easier to believe one side. And pretty much the only way to fact check some of this stuff was the other person coming out with their side and their facts, right? To balance the way people actually view things. Not to say anyone is entirely innocent here, but yeah, just nice point by Oompa. Then he moves on to confront Beast about the crypto thing some more. This part is a bit long, just bear with me.
You have said that you do not control the Wu-Tang wallet. You said that last night. You talk about a call you had with Mr. Gary, where you claim to have bought and or sold CryptoPunks, but then later decided to roll the money into VFriends. Did you press the button? Did you not press the button? Was it your decision?
I obviously did not press the buttons. Like I've been saying, I didn't pick what punks to buy or anything. Gary V just said, hey, Gary V seemed very passionate about these punks. You should look into it. If it makes sense, buy it. And so, you know, he did the research, picked what punks to buy, bought them. I don't even truthfully know how to buy punks. I've never bought one, like me personally.
Okay.
Like I've said, I don't have access to that wallet.
But you did make some decisions to buy or sell in the Wu-Tang Fund.
Well, I mean, yeah, I just told him like, hey, Gary, like in transparency, Gary called me about CryptoPunks and said they were cool. Look into it. I mean, so at the end of the day, bro, I don't like, I don't know which punks to buy or which ones we should buy if it's a good investment.
The Supercoin tweet, for context, on May 12th, 2021, you, MrBeast, tweeted in response to it was an Elio Trades tweet. There's a gym sitting there on the market at an eye-watering price set to explode during DeFi Summer 2.0. And then you responded by saying super ? With a crazy emoji.
Just replied super to his tweet. I did not tell people to buy super or anything. I just replied super. And I know the next thing where people are going to go, but this was a planned coordinated thing. It wasn't. It's not like I'm on the phone with the people managing the crypto fund going, hey, I'm about to reply super to this tweet. Obviously, though, in hindsight, I mean, I could see how people might think that is a weird look optically. And so like, I wouldn't do it, but.
Would you not mention that your fund Wu-Tang had been selling and continued to sell super on the day and after you tweeted about it or responded to a tweet for clarity?
Again, I wasn't involved in the day-to-day of the fund. I mean,
Okay, this is an interesting response. Basically, again, with I had no idea it was my team or fund managers, and it really depends if you believe Jimmy is a malicious person or not. Is he trying to make big bucks quickly? Because this is not a couple bucks, all right? This is total was 10 to 20 million of this crypto thing. So of course people are concerned about it, and they were comparing it to the Crypto Zoo situation with Logan Paul. And at the end of the day, it's what Coffee said, where you believe what you believe here. If you think Jimmy is an evil person, you will assume that he's scamming people. And if you think that he's a cool person, you will just assume it's a mistake by him.
It's the crypto charity stuff, Team C's Eternity.
Eternity gave us NFTs to auction off for Team C's. Only one sold after like, a day, I believe. And that was it. And then, yeah, it looks like the fund sold like 27 days later, a little bit of Eternity. It was not combined or planned or premeditated in any way. I mean, honestly, the charity auction was a bomb. It only raised $7,000. No one cared, so it didn't really do anything. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the full story. There's nothing nefarious there.
Yeah, it sold $2 million of the earn tokens.
Yes.
Okay, that was a bit awkward. Like, it wasn't much, and then, well, it was actually $2 million. Then he talks about the NFT charity philanthropy thing, which is probably the worst way to do whatever you wanted to do there.
But as the charity guy, if your fund is privately making like millions of dollars during a charity drop that your name is attached to, like even if
so again, that I would say is not fully correct. So the charity drop happened. One sold, the other ones weren't selling. No one cared. So there was no selling of NFTs to raise money for charity anywhere near where the fund was selling before or after.
Okay, just to be clear though, you keep saying a couple coins or like you're downplaying it. It's $2 million of earned tokens. That's quite a bit. That's like a lot of money.
Yes, of course. And obviously not all of it is mine. It's the fund. But it was also known that my fund was invested in it, and I was a part of the fund. So it's also not like it was hidden that we were invested in Earn. Like, that was public information.
Right.
All right, so I don't expect Oompa to grill him super hard on the crypto stuff either, because, you know, it's harder to understand. Of course, CoffeeZilla covered the situation in depth, and it just comes down to what do you think of his responses? Do you buy it or do you not? But anyways, that was Oompaville's interview. I think it focused a little too much time on the less serious allegations like the CGI. I think a lot of people got frustrated. Like, I saw a couple of live streams and the chat was just like, oh my God. But yeah, he did his best, man. So good job to him. I'm just glad I don't have this pressure on me. Now I'm kind of grateful that I didn't have to do this interview, because some people are cooking him for not pushing hard enough. But yeah, as always, let me know what you guys thought in the comments below, and I'll see you guys another day, hopefully with another topic. I'm probably going to take some time off now, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.